We are, oh, excellent. All right. Good morning or good afternoon to everyone, wherever you are in the world today. We have a juicy topic for you this morning. We are going to talk about priorities and what does that actually mean? And do we need to shift them? How do we know what our priorities are? And do what we think our priorities are match what we are actually living as our priorities? So, um, Again, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Jessica Melnick. I am a registered holistic nutritionist and the founder of the Anti-Arthritis Method and your host of the Happy Joints Arthritis Solutions group. And today I have my colleague Casey Kephart with me, and I'll let her introduce herself and tell you a little bit about herself.
Hello, excuse my cat, his name is Gustav, he's joining in today as well. My name is Casey Kephart. I have an autoimmune disease program as well, which is called the Autoimmune Disease Formula for women with all autoimmune diseases, not just specifically arthritis like Jessica does. My free Facebook group is nutrition for women with autoimmune disease. I reside in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I'm happy to be doing these every week with Jessica.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. I'm so happy that Casey and I met through some mutual circles and through our shared professions. And yeah, we're excited to be sharing our knowledge with you and have some fun. So we're going to get started. And so like I said, we have a juicy topic all about priorities. And we wanted to dive a little bit deeper because they aren't necessarily what they seem at the surface. So well, the way we define a priority is how do we spend most of our time? Because what we spend most of our time on determines what our priorities are. Now, sometimes that conflicts with what we actually want for our lives. So we could say, we want to get healthier and we want to exercise regularly, but in reality, we're spending most of our time not going to exercise and doing anything and procrastinating. So that's just one example of sometimes how what we want for our lives and what we think is a priority to us and what's important to us don't match with our actions. So Casey, did you want to elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so I think the first step with just figuring out what your priorities are is to make a list of what you do throughout the day. So everything, basically, everything little. What are you doing on your phone? Are you scrolling on Instagram or are you looking at recipes? Are you listening to nutrition podcasts and trying to figure out what's going on with you? Or are you listening to country music or whatever music you like? And really just taking an elaborate, not even a bird's eye view, but a deep dive into what you're doing every day and figure out what your priorities are. And then we can work on shifting them from there. Because like Jessica said, you're going to be really surprised what you're spending a lot of your time on and how much time you have to shift to actually making your priority a priority or your goal a priority.
Yeah, it brings me to think of back to a time when I was going to school for something that I did not enjoy. And I was the worst procrastinator. And I thought that these courses I was taking were really important to me and that they were a priority. But in fact, they weren't, because I would put it off. And by the time I realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, I literally just spent an hour like scrolling through Netflix and watching little bits here and there of like shows and picking out shows that I wanted to watch. And I was like, I could have spent this last hour getting an assignment done. So that's a perfect example of how like what I thought my priority was not actually my priority.
Right. And it's kind of like checking your money monthly, right? And seeing where it's going. And if your goal is to save $500 a month and you're spending $500 a month on going out, and you didn't know where the money was going until you checked. It's the same thing with your priorities. You want to know where your time is going so you know how to prioritize your time and what buckets to put it in throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great example too. And the reason why we wanted to talk about this is because when we have an autoimmune condition, like rheumatoid arthritis or Hashimoto's or whatever it is, and it's a priority for us to figure out how to get healthier and to get better because we want to have more energy, or we want to be able to thrive in our careers, or we want to be able to be active again, or we want to be able to spend time with our kids or our grandkids and have energy at the end of the day to just do whatever we want to do and actually not feel like we need to go to bed as soon as we finish eating supper. All these reasons why we want to feel better are reasons why, we often are like, oh, my health is really a priority, and getting better is a huge priority to me. But what are we doing to make that a priority? How are we making our health a priority? And
Yeah.
so that's why we bring this up. It's like, look at how you're spending your time. Are you doing the things? Are you prioritizing the things that are going to get you better?
Yeah. And it takes time to shift your priorities, because we know it's a different routine, but it takes time to really start seeing results with your priorities and making health a priority. And it takes practice in doing it and getting into a routine. So a lot of times Jessica and I will hear like, we're not getting better. And so we're asking them how they're spending their time, what they're doing. And, they half-ass grocery shopping, they half-ass their meal prep, and, they cheat from here to here. Well, I'm going to ask you, is your health really a priority, or is it just, something that you're half-assing, for lack of a better word, right?
Mhm. And like, we totally get it. It is
Yeah.
hard and it is challenging to make a change. And that's why both of us do have programs to coach our clients through that process of change, because we know how hard it is to do it independently. And we
Yep.
know that we as humans are way more successful at following through with things like that are priorities when we have accountability and when we have support.
Yeah.
So that is one of the hugest keys to staying on track. There are some people I know who are very, very independent and extremely disciplined, and that's something they thrive off of. But most of us, mere humans, mere mortals, need some support to stay on track and to keep those things as a priority, and to keep bringing back and remembering, like, why are we doing this in the first place? Why is this important to me?
Yeah. Yeah, we all need a little hand holding or a kick in the butt, and there is no shame in that. And we are so happy to bring you back to your priorities and make you realize why that was your priority in the first place, and how we can shift time to your priority as well. Because there's always time in the day to make time for you.
Absolutely. And a lot of it too, I know, Casey, you and I have talked about this, is how important having a mindset shift and a
Mm,
shift in our perspectives as well
yeah.
comes into play when it comes to making those changes and making our health a priority, because we subconsciously have thoughts and perceptions about things that we're not even aware of, and that can be getting in our way of getting better, and that are self-sabotaging.
Yeah, definitely. And that takes me to my point of, it's not selfish to make you a priority, even though you have kids, a family, 4 dogs, and a mother you're taking care of. You need to take care of yourself. You need to make you a priority so you can give everything you have in your cup to everybody else that you have to. So fill up your cup, give it to people, fill it up again, give it to people. Um, there was another point in there and I can't remember, but making you your top priority is the most important for getting better and healing from your autoimmune disease.
Absolutely. And like, again, like you said, if our cup isn't full, we have nothing to give.
Yeah.
It's kind of like on the plane when they say, put your oxygen mask on
Yeah.
first, because you need to be able to breathe before you can help other people. So it's the same concept. Um, so in terms of what we need to do to shift to make our health a priority, I know Casey and I talked about this earlier and thought of some examples of things that we can do to make those shifts. So some things like, picking healthy recipes, picking autoimmune protocol compliant recipes to cook at home, versus going out often, even just cutting back on going out. And if you need to do this in baby steps and gradually like go into that shift, that's great too. You're gonna get there regardless. So you have to start somewhere. So what other examples, Casey, did you want to bring up in terms of how to shift to make our health a priority?
Yeah, so I think a really big one is just getting support or asking questions. If you don't know how to shift your priorities, like you are lost in this world of autoimmune disease, ask questions. Obviously you're in Jessica's group. I have a group as well. And we want people to ask questions to know how to shift their priorities, or ask questions about recipes or routines that you can do, or just really anything. So making sure you have support is a great way to shift and be accountable towards your priorities as well. And then another one would be sleep. So we all know that when we are sleep deprived, we do not make good decisions at all. Our logic kind of runs low. So we want to make sure that priority is asleep for us, so we can have good priorities, put them in line, and actually follow through with them. And bonus to that, you get good sleep. It helps you heal from your autoimmune disease as well. And we can spend a whole nother live on sleep. But those would be my top two, is asking questions in the Facebook group about whatever you need to know, and then having good quality sleep in a dark room.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, having good quality sleep makes us think so much more clearly, rationally. We're able to make better decisions, and we just have more energy to take on those priorities and the things that we need to get done during our day. So, absolutely. Um, One other thing I wanted to bring up too, again, and just to reiterate this point, is that whole self-care piece. So I always tell my clients, because I know we all have really busy lives and various responsibilities between like work, family, even fun, like things that we want to do. But I find that we often put enjoyment and recreation on the back burner. We may be looking after an ailing parent and looking after kids at the same time. We may have a job, we may be supporting our husband or our partner in his professional endeavors, all the different things that we have going on in our day-to-day lives. Just to carve out even 10 minutes of time, just 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be a lot, but if that's like all you can wrap your head around as a place to start in terms of looking after yourself, please start there. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but 10 minutes can make a huge world of difference in how you feel. So whether that is just 10 minutes for a walk, 10 minutes of a guided meditation, or just to breathe, 10 minutes of a silly show that makes you laugh, 10 minutes of your favorite book or coloring or a craft, anything that you enjoy, just like 10 minutes, just start there.
Yep, it's easy to make your priorities happen when you do have that self-care, because you are less tense, you're in a better mood, you have more energy, you put out a good vibe. So all of these little things that maybe you haven't thought about can really help you shift those priorities for you and actually complete them. Because it's one thing to have your priorities on a list, right? Say you did step one, you identified your priorities. You found out you're spending way too much time on Instagram looking at workout clothes than food. And then, gosh, I just lost my train of thought. And then, shoot,
It'll come back. It'll come
it
back.
will come back. Oh, and then so your so you didn't get good sleep last night, and you're not taking care of yourself because you woke up at 4 a.m., had shoved the kids out the door, took care of grandma, and now you have no energy to actually dive into those priorities that you made a list on. So making sure you're taking care of yourself and everything in those basic foundational things will help with your priorities. I try to like loop that all together there.
Yeah, no, that's great. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because it's all interconnected. It's all
it is.
interconnected. So one of the other last main points we had about shifting our priorities and how we can go about doing that is to get our loved ones on board. So the people who are closest to us, our closest family, our closest friends, the people we live with, the people who we spend the most time with, getting them on board, letting them know what you are doing. And that's kind of ties back into the whole accountability piece. You know, if we let our family know what we're doing and our friends know what we're doing, and that, you know, it's like, hey, I'm doing this program, or I'm doing this protocol where I'm working on my autoimmune condition and I'm working on getting better. And in order to do that, I need to, follow this certain diet protocol. I need to follow certain lifestyle tweaks and make some adjustments. And this is what I'll be doing. So this is, could you please support me in this way? Or, maybe I won't be able to attend every event or something that I'm invited to because I need to get to bed earlier, or, I just sometimes just need rest and I don't feel like taking on another responsibility or an event. It can be those things. And so just letting other people know what you're doing so that you don't get to that point where you get asked to, to go to do something or to volunteer for something and you're just like, oh, I don't have it in me right now. I don't, that's not my priority and that's not how I want to spend my time. I need to prioritize, my health, and this is what it looks like for me. So setting those boundaries and knowing when to say no.
Yeah. And adding on to that is that everything is temporary, right? It's not going to be this way for the rest of your life. But when you are starting something new and you are working on healing, you do need to be strict about this stuff. And it's easier if you have your close loved ones on board with you. And that place, they know that you're coming from a good place and you're not just saying no, like, I don't want to come or do this. And it also makes it more accountable for you to stay on track, because I mean, all of us are pretty much women here, and I guarantee you we have all tried a weight loss diet, right? And have you ever just kept that a secret and tried to do it on your own, and then somebody asks you to, hey, let's go to the bar and get some nachos and beer, and you're like, yep, that sounds good right now, and you go, right? And
Mm-hmm.
nobody knew that you were on a weight loss diet. Nobody knew that you were trying to stay on track, or else they wouldn't have invited you. And if they did invite you, knowing that, you might want to reevaluate your friends as well. But it's the same thing with this. Getting everybody on board that you want to know is important. If you need to write a whole Facebook post and post it on Facebook so everybody knows, and that would help you, do it. But don't be ashamed at what you're doing, because I guarantee you're going to see great results and you're going to make everybody else jealous around you. So do what's best for you, tell people about it, and get support from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find that most of the people that love us are really supportive of us and they want us to feel better. They want us to have our pain gone and our energy back, and they want us to have our abilities to do the things that are important to us and for now and for our future. So I find that when you open up and you tell your loved ones, like, this is what I need to do, this is a decision that I've made, and this is what it looks like because it's a priority, they're
Yeah.
really accommodating. Like I've talked to clients whose family has invited them over for supper, and they've been more than happy to accommodate their new dietary needs. And there's other ways around it too. You can also say, like, yeah, I love your cooking so much, but I'm doing this medical diet, this is what I need to eat and what I can't eat right now, but I don't want you to take all this on because this is my thing. So I'm going to bring some food to share with you that is, that is compliant with what I am doing to get myself better. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It doesn't have to be a depriving thing. So, and I think when we're just open about it, our family and our friends are curious,
Yeah.
and most of them are very, very supportive.
Yeah, definitely. And it reminds me of a quote that I see often is, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, you don't know who's watching or who you're inspiring. it's the same thing with this. When you stick to your boundaries and you stick to what your goals are and you tell other people about them, that might inspire them to do the same thing in their own life. Anecdotal story, but I'm in the dating world and going on dates, I have to eat certain things. And when I do tell them, sometimes I do open up about it and tell them that I have this certain way of eating. They're often really just like, wow, she is a strong woman. She's going to do what she wants. It's actually it goes in the positive list more than the negative list. So stick to your guns, do you, and you're going to feel so much better and be a better person for everybody else out there. But moral of the story, get everybody on board in your life.
Yeah, I love that. I love that example too. That's a perfect example. So
Mhm.
yes, and like, I keep tying it back to that whole this is something that you're doing for you, and it's a necessary thing. So this is where that self-care piece comes in, and this isn't just for you, it's for you now, it's for you in the future. And I know because as women we tend to be such givers and caretakers, and we try to look after everybody else. Again, you can't look after everybody else if we haven't looked after ourselves as well. And we would, like, when we look at the people we love, we would do whatever we could to help them and support them in what they're doing, and vice
Yeah.
versa. We need to give that to ourselves.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it too. So just what you're doing now is what you're doing for your future self. So just think about that. Do is what you would want your future self to do right now.
Yes, and treat yourself like you are one of your own best friends or someone that you love, because we don't often give that to ourselves.
I agree. I think that's a great place to end too. It's just like mic drop that right there.
Right on. Well, I love this topic so much. And thank you, Casey, for joining me today. I love doing these with you. It's a lot of fun, good conversation.
It
And
is.
we'll be back next Tuesday with a juicy topic again. So if you're watching this on the replay, please comment. If we've missed your comment on the live, don't worry, I will see it. We will respond to you. We'd love to hear what you have to say. We'd love your feedback and any other questions that you have for us. And we will be back next Tuesday at the same time. So
Thanks all for watching. Do
yeah,
your priority list.
exactly. Take care,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.